Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Miraculous Ladybug, The New Powerpuff Girls, and Voltron Legendary Defender. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hello.
Justin Cummings.
Hello.
And Jeff Anderson.
Howdy.
Today, Delaney, Justin, Jeff, and I will be discussing Voltron Legendary Defender's first season as a whole and taking your questions and comments on the entirety of the first season, which last weekend dropped on Netflix in Netflix fashion with the all X number of episodes of the first season. Delaney and I went through the first season doing specific episode discussions last weekend. You can check those out at overlyanimated.com. Today we'll be having a spoiler-filled podcast on the season as a whole. So if you don't want to get spoiled for any part of Voltron Legendary Defender, listen to our specific episode discussions until you catch up, and then you can listen to this one. Check us out at overlyanimated.com. Check out those old podcasts, and you can look for our Voltron's Legendary Defender specific iTunes feed on there, as well as our normal iTunes feed, and you can search for the Overly Animated Podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher. So let's depending on whether you listen to our old Voltron podcast, which I think at the very least me and Delaney's finale one was pretty good. And others were also pretty good too, I think. But yeah, we're also doing a bunch of them in a day. So we have not heard from Justin and Jeff yet on Voltron Legendary Defender. We have not heard from Jeff in a while on Overly Animated Podcast. So welcome back, Jeff. Yay. And so let's get your guys' take on kind of the season as a whole and any notable things about the season, the series, all more specific questions later for everyone. But Jeff, general comments on the season.
I really, really like this show so far. You can definitely tell that it has its, heritage in Korra and Young Justice. The animation quality is fantastic. At first, I was a bit turned off by the rather juvenile, we gotta, work together as a team, come together as one, form Voltron, which like 3 times an episode. But I feel like they got that out of their system the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then it was really good after that. No complaints. I really like how, as it was a Netflix series, that it lends itself very well to just binge watching because the episodes just bleed in one to another. There's no need to clean things up after each episode because it's all there. Also, there's no need for commercial breaks, which is great. So yeah, I'm sure I have other thoughts, but that's what comes to mind right now.
Yeah,
so,
cool
good stuff.
Yeah, it's a good point about it being very Netflix oriented. Joaquin and Lauren talked about this in interviews actually, and they like the knowledge that this would air on Netflix lended to their writing. I think they said basically they didn't feel the need to do as much recap on previous events.
Yeah. I'm still not a huge fan of like the Netflix style of things because there is this whole social shared experience aspect which is just missing from the 4th episode or from anything that's released by Netflix. So it's a bit of a shame, but it's good anyways.
Yeah, that's definitely a larger discussion. I mean, in terms of podcasting on a show, Netflix dumps certainly don't work as well for like we can't do week-to-week podcasts on new episodes, so we had to do all of them at once. We
could. It's just be no point.
Yeah, because it'd be like everyone would have seen all the episodes already, and we're sitting here speculating about the finale when everyone's seen it, right? Yeah, so there's certainly it's definitely a larger discussion, but like at the very least, if you're gonna have like a Netflix release, like embrace it, and there's certainly benefits to it. You don't need to have any sort of concern about anything previously on. And I think people sometimes underestimate how often shows feel the need to work in reference to previous material because viewers may not remember.
And that adds up to a lot of time.
It does, and they're very much free to have 13 or 11 or how many, if you want to look at it, jam-packed episodes here, I'd say. We'll get into more stuff with you, Justin. We also have not heard from you. What are your general comments on Voltron?
I actually know a lot of people came in comparing this to Korra, Young Justice, that kind of stuff. I was comparing this mostly to the older Voltron, which plug on the blog. I talked a lot about the older Voltron in an article, so read that. But I think at first I was kind of scared that they were rebooting because the original Voltron, it took so long to get going. They didn't form Voltron until the end of the 4th episode. They'd already built up so much story. They had the really good Nicktoons show in 2011. And instead of continuing that, they were rebooting it, and I was kind of worried. But I actually, once I saw it, the reboot made a lot of sense because the decision to actually air that pilot, the 3 episodes together as like a TV movie length, actually really, really helped because it still took about the same amount of time to get to Voltron, but it didn't feel as dragged out as watching 4 separate episodes before finally getting to that point. And the pacing just felt much, much better than the original show. It was much faster. They didn't have to do the recaps. And the original show was the 80s, so the recaps back then were much, much worse because they just assumed kids were stupider. The pacing here, it felt like a modern show. It felt more like a Daredevil than like a Legend of Korra or something like that. But I think my biggest up on the show, the Robeast, which that's what the big robot monsters are called in the original, and I think they still use the term. The Robeast were very monster of the week. A random one shows up every episode, and they have to beat it no matter what through the power of teamwork. This show, they had much, much fewer. I think we only had 2 or 3, and each one felt more important. Like, it felt like a true challenge to beat one, and they might be there for 2 episodes. So I think they actually raised the stakes a lot compared to the original show, which I thought that was definitely the biggest selling point for me. These were rookie pilots. It's not like they could beat something in 5 seconds. They actually had to work at it. The one complaint I had about the show, and it's kind of tricky, I guess, to get around it, I'm so used now to Jeremy Shada being Finn that Lance just having such... It's basically the same voice he uses for
he
Finn.
very much
And
sounds like Finn, yeah.
That, to me, is the one thing. I wish he had just done something with his voice that it just didn't quite sound so Finn, because there were times that kind of took me out of the experience. But when that's the biggest negative I have about a show...
Yeah, that's kind of a nothing complaint, yeah. But
yeah,
I think this is something you'll run into. People sound the same. Like, I don't know. It's just how it is.
Props to Zach Callison, though. If you compare him on Steven to Sophia the First, he sounds completely different. So, yeah. Jeremy, be like him.
I think his voice fit this character really well, and
it really did.
I like how he did with that. So okay, cool. So I'll plus on this Voltron. I mean, there's a lot to discuss here. I mean, I think we'll eventually get into like what's lacking, what we might get into in season 2. Delaney and I got into a lot of this on the finale podcast and the season finale podcast. I guess general reactions to the finale, I guess. I mean, I don't know if we should put more precedent on or put more emphasis on the finale, but I think Delaney and I's reaction to the finale is a relatively quiet finale, at least in terms of plots, relative to certainly compared to a Korra or something. Jeff, were you enjoying the finale?
One second. Yes, the finale was really, really good. I really liked how Keith faced off against what's his name? Can't remember his name right now. Big baddie.
Yeah, Zarkon.
Yeah, Zarkon. Favorite part. Yep. Yeah, that was really good.
Cool. Yeah, Justin. Any?
Y'all were kind of dissing the whole the group gets separated trope in your finale coverage, saying, "Oh, it's very stereotypical." But I think you did also touch on. They're trying, I think. They know they're hitting all these tropes. They want to hit the tropes. They're trying
I do think they're
to
trying
improve
to
the tropes. Yeah, they're trying to make them better.
Okay, you think this is, I mean, like what purpose?
I think they're trying to
serve?
give us the best version of this trope.
I agree with
think,
that. Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot of, I think we're going to get the traditional, the group has to work their way back to each other. But I think they're going to do it in kind of a new, more nuanced way, perhaps. And I think that we're not going to get, I think it's going to be something we're not expecting, but at the same time, we can kind of predict it. So I'm excited to see what they do with this plot trope, because so far when they take a trope, they've done pretty well with it. So,
yeah, I mean, generally, one big point Delaney and I made was the show is extremely stereotypical story element-wise, and that despite that, it was kind of successful with all of these things it was trying to do. So I agree that it's kind of trying to execute these tropes in a good way. I mean, I see no indication from any part of the first season that it's trying to break away from tropes. But it's like, I don't know. Jeff, did you take any issue with with how typical a lot of, I mean, is that a reaction that you also had, that these are familiar story elements, or was this not something you were focused on when watching?
Well, actually, I mean, I think they actively avoided the particular trope of, we're knights of the round table in our castle. We will sally forth and defeat the enemy of the week, and then come back and everything's hunky dory.
Mm-hmm.
Like the conflicts they take on have lasting impact beyond the immediate episode. Like, your crystal gets blown up, you got to spend like 3 episodes finding a new one. Not exactly that, but 3 episodes resolving that plotline at least, because it introduces the Balmerins. The one lieutenant with the one arm, he's a great character who comes back again and again. So I enjoyed that. Things have impact and meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. Like, it breaks away from the tropes we would expect from an 80s Voltron series, right? I mean, I haven't seen the original, but the things don't. Okay. I'm sure that'll upset some people listening, but the show definitely like avoids these types of non-serialized show tropes. I would agree with that. I don't know, Justin, what's your take on this? Did you react any similarly to Delaney and I at all, like thinking that it was very much typical story elements?
I think the biggest trope I saw, and I know you're going to kill me for this, I know, but they kind of did what the older shows did, and also what Power Rangers does a lot, where you talked about Zarkon not getting a lot of development, and basically what Power Rangers does almost every season, they have the second-in-command villain kind of built up in the first half of the show, and that becomes who the team focuses on fighting, and the big bad is kind of off in a distance, and then once they take care of that threat, then they move on to the big bad. And I think Sendak was kind of our second-in-command, and we're only 11 episodes in. I think they're following that, and now that Sendak's kind of out of the way, now we're going to see more of Zarkon. So I think it followed that path line, that trope, but I don't think it necessarily hindered it in any way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true. I definitely think that's the type of thing they're going for.
You never know, though, because there's 2 ways that Sendak could come back into play. Like, his pod was ejected, but he still could have been alive in there. And his memories got offloaded, which they might decide, hey, let's upload them to a Centurion we captured and reanimate him for fun.
Yeah,
right.
Interesting. This reminds me briefly, Jeff and Justin reads on this, the character that lifted the force field in the finale, because Delaney and I did not know.
Yeah, no idea. Okay, so like crazy theory could be Pidge's dad, who underwent some crazy, augmentation to become one of them. I don't know, but I think other than that, there's really no way to pinpoint anything. So they could throw anything at us.
My theory is this is someone who Shiro was kind to when he was the champion. That this is someone who Shiro has had previous encounter with that he doesn't remember, and he did something, and this was that person's way of paying it forward or paying it back. And I think we're going to see that in season 2, if that is a thing. We're going to see that connection.
Delaney, have you seen anything new on this since we've spoke about it?
No, not. I mean, I'm pretty firm in my belief that it's what's his face.
The second lieutenant.
Not Sendak, the other one.
Not Sendak, but
it's Zhao. It's
the jealous one, right?
Yeah. It's Zhao. Whatever.
No, I thought
his name
Sendak was Zhao, but whatever.
Sendak is Zhao.
So yeah,
no, it's not Sendak. It's
the other one. Yeah,
Ponrock or whatever his name is.
Zhao. Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember, but
he's more dramatic than Sendak.
Yeah, at first I thought it was Sendak, and then I'm on this. I mean, I think the most likely is it's that guy, but I haven't looked back and freeze framed it to see if it's him yet, so I don't know.
So they all look the same, so it's hard to know.
So. Okay, let's get into some feedback, and then we'll go through. We'll retouch on some other things. So I have one super long message from patron Ryan. I have a few short shipping ones. Where do we want to start?
Let's start with the ships.
Okay, we can start with a ship here. So Princess Di Demi says, what do you guys think of the shipping side of the Voltron Legendary Defender fandom, specifically the fan pairing Sheath, Shiro, and Keith? So I told you people were going to ship Shiro and Keith.
They're related. They're related.
I like Lance and Keith.
So I mean, I haven't like looked in the fandom for the ships yet. I assume that Lance and Keith is the biggest one.
Clients.
It's my first Yaoi ship, and I'm all for it.
Good introduction to here. Yeah, I mean, how do you not like this? I think it's notable because the primary thing that people would ship in the show is male ship. Like, there's just like nothing else. Like, this is like the thing to ship, right? So,
and I feel that we've never, to the best of my knowledge, we have not gotten a Western series with a male confirmed canon couple. Knowing these creators, they might. I have a feeling that if it's ever going to happen, it's going to be this show. I guarantee
an American animated series aimed at younger viewers. I agree, has not had a.
Correct.
Yeah.
And these are the people who gave us Korosami, so...
Right. So, the thing... So, like, Delaney and I are talking about this. Like, it's possible. Like, these are... I mean, this is not the two people that gave us Korosami. These are...
Well...
these are...
They were part of the crew that gave
part
us...
of. This was definitely a high decision by my...
So they need the top Korosami now.
Right, so that's the thing.
Except you can't top Korosami, but...
Lance and Keith would top Korosami.
No, I mean...
You have
it's
to
Netflix. They don't have the Nick boundaries.
Oh, so
they don't have to worry about Nick.
Some passionate, like...
we don't even need passionate. Actual contact.
We did get I cradled you in my arms. But...
we got hand-holding and eye-gazing.
It doesn't matter content-wise what it is. Like, you're not going to top Korosami.
So, yeah, I don't care about, like, level of content. In terms of importance, you're not going to top Korosami, probably, but I do think this would also be very, very important.
Oh, no, it'd be very, very important. Like, it'd just be amazing.
It wouldn't be as shocking, right? Like,
it wouldn't be as, like, mind-blowing and earth-shattering as...
So, yeah, in terms of, like, first thing... Okay, so first of all, Shiro Keith, any yes towards that?
I don't like it.
I understand the shipping, and I'm not against it because I ship Clance, but they're related somehow. There is some history there, and maybe they used to date. I don't know, but I am just so like I just think they're related somehow. Like, so I can't ship it,
Justin,
but I understand why they ship it.
Are they related?
I feel it's the Luke Leia thing. I think people are going to ship it and be like, oh, they're so perfect. And then, like, 3 seasons from now, we're going to find out they're siblings and be like, oh, crap.
Yep, I feel that.
I'm
glad people are shipping it, though, because they're picking up on there's something more there. Because there is. Like, it's not just face value stuff. Like, there is the way they interact. Like, there is history there, and I need to know what it is.
I don't know. I'm selling everything with this too. I don't know.
I know you sold it the whole time I brought it up.
I'm selling them as siblings. I'm selling them as a romantic pairing. I'm selling them as interesting characters. So
okay, Shiro's an interesting character.
Shiro's fine.
Shiro Pidge connection to me is the best thing the show has going, or one of the best.
I mean, behind
Pidge
Keith
is
and
just
Lance,
the best thing going. Pidge.
So,
Pidge is incredible, and I want to talk about Pidge later.
Before we get to our main, more into our main ship, any other things you're shipping in the show? Are you shipping Shiro and Pidge?
The age thing, I don't know what that age gap is.
We don't know what the age gap is, yeah.
Until we get an age gap confirmation, I don't want to. I would if it's close enough. I would even ship Shiro and Pidge's brother. I would do that. I think that could happen. But until we get an age confirmation on that gap, I don't want to say it because I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, like you are with, Lapis and Steven. But
that is different.
No, it's not. It's the
I'm
same.
not going to ship it regardless of their age. Like, I don't ship it.
But my biggest ship is actually Hunk and Shay, just because it's perfect. I know it's not the pilots, but I like that. It's cute. I want it.
I mean, that is a thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Are you a big Shay fan?
Yes.
Why?
Dylan, you think about me for 2 seconds.
Why? Like, what, Shay? Do you like her anachronistic speech? Is that why?
I like rock people in general. We know this.
I like rock people.
Oh, yeah. You think she's a gem. You've, like, mistaken her for for an interesting crystal gem. Yeah, I see. Okay.
I really liked her character. It was kind of... Okay, I'm used to tropey shows, so... I thought I don't know. I have no defense. I like Shay.
No, in all seriousness, I also did like Shay. But
yeah, Shay's fine.
Saying Shay and Hunk is like the favorite couple. That's when we have this incredible clans going on.
Right.
Like,
okay, to me they're like the obvious one. Where it's like,
so
yeah,
you
it's gonna happen.
ship the controversial ship, and in this case, it's the boring straight ship. Unlike
I ship multiple ships. I have multiple. I'm not saying Hunk and Shay are my OTP, but I'll read some Shunk Drabble every now and again.
No Shunk Drabble. It does not exist.
Just slice of life, eaten pie. It'll be great.
Unless you've written it, that is not something that's out there.
I will disprove
Unless you've written it. Wait, what? Didn't I write one on the podcast? What was it even about?
I don't remember.
I have to revisit that.
That's all a blur to me, those podcasts.
Same.
Can I plug my fanfiction account while we're talking about it?
Absolutely not. So let's take a question from Change for Good 1200, who says Shiro/Allura shipping. I know she's like 100,000 years old or something, but still. And then maybe I think that Keith is Shiro's son. And what did Keith leave the garrison? I'm still wondering on that. Okay, so
someone gets me.
Okay, if
someone
if
gets
Aang and Katara can be a couple, then Allura being frozen doesn't matter.
Yeah, actually, Allura
let's just clear that.
I don't care about that.
Let's clear that now.
Allura's literally Aang. Yeah, I think
literally
that's
Aang. She's even more Aang than Aang. Like 10,000 years. Like 100. Get on her level, Aang.
Change for Good is shipping Shiro and Allura. Delaney, no.
Well, right. I mean, we discussed at length why Delaney doesn't ship this.
Justin, Shiro and Allura.
I kind of want Pidge and Allura.
Okay, thank you. But that's
we said Delaney wasn't going to ship it, but Delaney does ship Pidge and Allura deep in the dark pits of her soul, and it's a problem.
2 seconds for that to happen. So
it was 30 minutes, Dylan.
I have a Pidge question.
Yes.
Is Pidge gonna be cross-dressing only or full-on transgender? Do we know? What's the feel on that? Because that determines.
Okay. So, well-intentioned, curious question. Let's discuss this. So, I've been seeing various, and by discuss I mean I'm probably gonna.
You'll correct me.
I'll talk for 30 minutes. But so I've been seeing places say that I've been seeing basically 2 sources of the Pidge's transgender talk. One source is people headcanoning it on Tumblr. This is absolutely fine, right? This is people who are applying a fan fantasy to a character. Like, cool, good for you. Thumbs up. The second place is I'm seeing people who either not watch the show or generally aren't super aware of this type of thing, saying that this show features a transgender character. So
yeah, I've seen articles on the internet. And
yes,
I'm like,
there's
wait a minute.
Genuine articles. So Delaney and I've talked about this at length.
Can I give my thoughts on it?
No. Let me make it clear first, what's going on. So, the show is very clearly presenting a trope, which is actually a girl dressed up as a boy for a disguise. This is a trope that I've always found problematic. It's a trope that the show does fine and avoids all the problematic elements. But this show is clearly presenting Pidge. We see flashbacks. Pidge is a cis female, and now we see Pidge being like, "No, I'm not a." You all have this perception of me as being a boy because I've been disguised as a boy. I'm actually a female. So, this is just not what being transgender is. This is Pidge saying, I was changed my name. I went under a different identity in order to go into the school. And it was just a disguise. But now that that's not necessary anymore, you can start, this is myself, I'm a cis female.
But to the best of my knowledge, in all the episodes after that, I mean, I don't think as of now they have presented Pidge as being a transgender character, but I think they could go that route because they still say Pidge. No. Right, okay. Because if the purpose of being called Pidge was to get into the school, get the info.
Okay.
Now that they're not on Earth, she wouldn't need to be called Pidge anymore. She could go by Katie, but she doesn't,
So that's the only thing is that, she still wants to go by Pidge or something.
Yeah.
But, that's irrelevant. The name doesn't matter. The show is clearly presenting Pidge from the arc that we saw as a cis female that was like assuming a male identity for like the purposes of not being wrecked. It's also complicated because the way like someone's gender identity in real life is you go by the pronouns that they say that they want to use, and like the show gives us nothing, right? So that's why people are confused. Like you can't just say like Pidge, what are your pronouns? But Pidge, that being said, like it's irrelevant. To a certain extent it's irrelevant. Pidge's pronouns are like she, her, like based on the show, right? Yeah, there you go. Anyway, I don't think this is like controversial. Like I don't know why this is like a discussion. But if you want to headcanon this character because you want to find like representation, then yes,
I think the reason that this is coming up is because of who's making the show. I think people want this to be as progressive as Korra, and we have not had a transgender character, to the best of my knowledge, in again Western younger aimed animation. And so I think people are wanting that, and so they're trying to like grab onto that as maybe hope of this happening.
That's kind of the headcanon perspective, and I agree. So I mean that's also I think why there's going to be more of our male shipping than normal, stuff like that. I mean every show that's discussed online does that, but you'll see more of that normal because people are like kind of expecting it from this group and stuff like that. So anyway, let's
I wouldn't put it past the show in season 2 though for them to actually have a discussion about like Pidge, what do you want us to call you? What are like, because I could see that happening. Like, granted, at the same time, they also were like, we were supposed to think you were a boy, which is further evidence that I really don't think they're going to go that route though, because they're like, oh, we're supposed to think you were a boy. So
the one thing that actually did annoy me in the handling of this was that scene, we were supposed to think you were a boy.
Like, it was nice they didn't freak out, but then it was also like, oh, we're not going anywhere with this at all.
So there's that.
Wave it away.
From my perspective, it annoyed me from the from the assumption that kind of a small human can't be like a small non-masculine human can't be like male, right? Like that it annoyed me on that end because now all our male characters have some association with traditional masculinity, and like it's the type of things I would typically get annoyed at. So from that angle. Anyway, though, yeah, that's enough of this. But the best thing about the Pidge stuff was clearly, I think, the reveal in terms of kind of just how it was handled. Justin, do you find that affecting, effective emotionally at the end of the 3rd episode with this big reveal of the season?
I kind of wanted them to hang on to that longer. Like I like what they did at the end of episode 3 with Shiro revealing that he knew. I wanted them to wait longer on the rest of the group finding out. I think they could have drawn that out a bit.
Yeah, I guess they could have done something with that. I mean, I don't know. I think the way they handled it, I assume, was fine because they didn't get into problematic territory.
Yeah. Well, since they weren't doing anything with it, I think the way they were like, we were supposed to think you were a girl, Lance being like, you're a girl, and being the only one who was shocked, that was probably the best way they could have handled it since they actually aren't doing anything with it. And they're just trying to get through the trope.
And they balanced Lance. I thought they balanced it really well because the only one who's freaked out was Lance, but Lance was also freaking out about the castle being a ship, so Lance was just freaking out in general. So I thought that kind of played off it well, so that it didn't solely focus on that.
You bring Jeff back in. Jeff, what are you fan of the Pidge character in general? Do you like what they did with Pidge?
Yeah. I think the flashbacks were really good. I actually, my friend Googled Voltron, the show.
No, bad idea. Yeah.
and mentioned to me what is this article about that? And like, what? And I had only watched episode 2 at that point. So
oh no.
So then I began to read the article. Who could this be about? And then the only person that it could have been was Pidge. All the foreshadowing with the picture.
Yeah.
And all that. So yeah, I was a bit spoiled, but. Whatever.
No bad spoilers. Yeah, I hate the Wikipedia article whenever someone is a pseudonym that's a surprise, then you update it in the character listing. So stupid. Stuff like that. Like we can just not talk about it. That was very much meant to be this big thing, and I think it was very successful in that 3rd episode. especially because of just all of every single question, like in every interview, them getting asked like, why didn't you change the gender of any of the main characters? Like, just constantly in that.
I did really like Princess Allura's interrogation during the party. It's like, we have a lot in common.
Yeah.
You can talk to me about anything.
Yeah,
so good.
That's definitely our big Allura X Pidge scene. Although I don't think we were feeling the chemistry from that one. But
I was.
Pidge was not feeling the chemistry.
I don't know if Pidge feels any chemistry except with robots. So,
robots, yeah. No, Pidge has chemistry with robots.
Yeah,
and
Jeff,
what
do you think of that scene with Pidge, like the Lance seeing like the alien girl and like the sparkles, like the fortune teller sparkles, and then Pidge seeing the robot, and then
yes, that was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was like it's me. Yeah, that's great. For the fortune teller from Avatar, I feel like that was like, I don't know if that's a reference to that or is that just a general trope. I feel like maybe both.
Wait, how is that a reference to fortune teller?
Like when the sparkles, when Aang gives Katara the necklace, and it's like, how do I? I feel like it was that type of effect. Anyway,
this show uses a lot of
my favorite
visually.
Okay,
Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, my favorite Lance being all googly-eyed thing ever was in episode 9. When he was like, "Does Princess Allura ever talk about me when I'm not there?" and Chunk's like, Hunk, yeah. He's like, he's like, "Oh yes, Lance. He's so handsome. I'm all over Twitter."
The use of a Twitter is really good.
No other show that these guys have been behind has ever made me laugh like that scene did. It was amazing.
I did think that scene was really good. Yeah. I think that's we can get it briefly into best episodes. I feel like that was like. That was the second to last one, right? Yeah. The Wikipedia changed the numbers. Like, why are they doing the numbering like that?
Third to last?
I think it was third to last.
Was it
I thought
because there was 11, so 9.
I don't think
you had collection and extraction.
I think it was 10. It was collect and extraction, I think that
yes.
Scene was from. Yep. So, yeah, I really like that one. That scene also had the Hunk Sporks line, which I thought was really good.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's favorite. I don't know if you guys are biased by me and Delaney's opinions presented, but Jeff, what would you say was your favorite episode of the season?
Okay, actually, I think might be actually episode 9 that I'm remembering.
Collection
Probably not
extraction, or the one with the one before that would be the one where they each had the ships affecting all of them, and they're each having their like bad.
Yes, like the crystal venom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I very much loved that because the resolution for Princess Allura, again with the whole things have consequences. There is no reset button, and her father went all corrupt, and she had to go delete him. And that one scene at the very end when it's the last ditch effort to stop her, and it's all these memories coming back, and then she finally hugs the hologram. It's like, oh my gosh, it's solid. That's so cool. And then you realize, no, it is solid because it's his memory crystal that she crushes.
Yeah. Definitely some good Allura stuff in that episode. You a big Allura fan, Jeff?
Yeah, I think I like how involved she gets and stuff. I mean, it seems a bit juvenile. I must go down there to greet them. Put myself in mortal danger because I'm the princess.
Yeah,
she's a strategic advantage or resource. She should keep herself safe, but whatever.
She does not view herself as the strategic resource that she is. Yes. Justin, what would you say is your favorite episode of the season?
Crystal Venom, I gotta admit, and I'll preface this, I love episodes like this. Like one of my favorite Doctor Who episodes is Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. I just love when you take the characters.
Agreed.
I love that episode.
Really?
Like what?
Why is it taking me this long to meet Jeff? He's great. I love episodes where you take the main characters and just put them in whatever they have and just leave them there and just let stuff happen. To me, I love all the conflict comes from within their own group and also within their own base. They're in their own element. It turns against them. I just love that trope. I love that idea. And Voltron just executed it so well. And I wasn't expecting it to get that deep with Allura. And then it did, and I thought that was wonderful. So that's my favorite episode, hands down.
Okay, interesting. I was definitely in on episode 3. Spoilers for my upcoming top 10 episodes of the half a year so far. That's definitely up there on my list of TV episodes in general. Return of the Gladiator and then Collection and Extraction, I think, are the standout ones. IMO. I think just because it's not number one for someone doesn't mean it's not high up, etc. But yeah, let's get into some more feedback. We'll keep talking about more stuff. We have a lot of comments from patron Ryan on probably pause, and we'll discuss, and then we'll continue with his email. So Ryan says, I really enjoyed the first season of the show, and while it did not achieve the lofty highs we know this team is capable of, I think it clearly demonstrated that the potential for greatness is there. While the story felt like they were treading on familiar territory, it was well executed, and by the end I was genuinely attached to the characters, despite many of them needing to be thoroughly fleshed out in future episodes. Overall, the season reminds me of The Force Awakens. It quickly reestablishes the world and characters and leans hard on tried conventions and the source material to tell a very satisfying story. Both play it safe to build trust in the new direction of the franchise, but do so while planting the seeds of more interesting things to come. Let's pause there. What do we think of this as a comparison to The Force Awakens?
It's an excellent comparison. I do think Force Awakens is more successful in its character establishment than this series. Yeah. But I think it's a pretty solid comparison. In that it does great things, and we're definitely going somewhere pretty interesting. And I think this is promising, but it's not. But they played it safe, which The Force Awakens was literally A New Hope. So
yeah,
they played it safe. They played to their strengths. They just went trope after trope after trope. But it was all done very well. And like we said, not in our coverage, none of the episodes were bad or even decent. They were all good. So
the thing is, this show is a reboot. It wasn't like Force Awakens. They brought back old characters, but they had new ones. This was a full-on reboot, and I don't think it's the perfect comparison. I see why they're making the comparison, but I don't think it fits quite as well because they're not determining, they're not picking up where they left off. They are restarting, which I don't say it's easier to just restart, but it definitely is different. I'd say Voltron Force was more of The Force Awakens, but I do see the comparison. I like it.
I will say that Voltron, I think, does think this one thing way, way better than Force Awakens, and that's establishing the villain.
Yes.
Particularly,
agree.
Like the Galran Empire versus the First Order. We don't know how big the First Order is, where they came from, how long they've been out here, what the capabilities are, and their weapons can somehow go from place to place. They just sort of glossed over, we're going to do this huge Star Killer and move it over here. How? With the Galran Empire, they are very explicitly, they fill the entire galaxy, and they show the big baddie's over here, but he's not going to actually go over here. He's going to send his sub-commanders out to do his dirty work, because his empire is so huge. And Shiro at one point is like, we're not going to just take the fight to him. That's dumb. He's so powerful. We got to build up our resistance movement. In fact, he starts trying to do that with those two smugglers. So I think that's very well done.
Yeah. Force Awakens, I think it's probably a good comparison. My initial reaction is that characters are, like Delaney said, characters are better handled in Force Awakens. That being said, if you compare the 90-minute movie or whatever to, I don't know,
right,
it was probably longer, to this entire season.
I think it's over 2 hours.
Yeah. So if you compare the entirety of the two, I guess they're similarly handled. Force Awakens obviously does a lot with a little bit of time, and this does not a ton of character work in the time it has, but I don't know. This seems more. This series overall, I guess, seems more consistently plot wise and I don't know. I mean, Force Awakens also very good on a lot of angles, but
well, it's interesting. We're dealing with things that we're dealing with familiar material. Even if you didn't watch Voltron, you know what Voltron is. It's a giant. It's a bunch of stuff that turns into a giant robot. You understand what Voltron is. They're fighting stuff in space, and then if you've never seen Star Wars, you know what Star Wars is, and so it's it is interesting in that you're dealing with old material that everyone's familiar with, but they still play it safe in that trope. We copy A New Hope, and
I guess the main difference I see between the show's characters, they probably have similar character work. I just feel like there's no Rey anchoring
Right.
anchoring the show. Like, there's no one I remotely care about as much as Rey in that movie. So I think that's like it's potentially a problem because Star Wars kind of ventured into somewhat new territory with its characters, at least in terms of like demographics. Although it still is like a Luke in the main role. This show maybe plays it too safe with it's the combinations of characters. But then again, it does at least. I think it's at least do things with at least one of the characters, and it does do like Shiro's like Japanese and stuff, right? Like there's stuff like anyway. I've seen things like calling all 5 of our leads white, and I think that's wrong. Like I just think that's not what they are. But
that's not accurate.
I think that's just not accurate. Okay. Let's continue with Ryan's email. Says, I think season 1 did a great job of building the world, but now I'm ready to explore it. I'd like to know what the origin is for the Lions, and if Zarkon was indeed the Black Paladin, then what caused him to turn. Shiro's imprisonment and his with the Gara Empire being made into their greatest weapon, the arm, and the Black Lions are all points I'd like addressed. His family situation needs to be resolved. I think all of our main characters need more development as Keith, especially his rather unclear motivation. Splitting up the party for the next season so you can spend time with each of them individually seems like a good way to handle this, though, for the next season. Maybe while they are cast to the farthest corners of the galaxies, they can find at least one more character to add to the shockingly short list of females that seem to exist in this universe. If we're exploring all of the galaxy, will we find one more woman in the universe? Is that
I
possible?
hope so.
Yes,
I mean,
please.
We're already beating Star Wars, so can we please just have more?
I mean, not the rebooted Star Wars, right? Like,
well, no, not the reboot. I mean, original Star Wars, we're already beating them in how many women we have. Like, please, we need more.
Genuine question, though, will we add a main character next season?
I mean, it's hard to see.
They could kind of do anything with it, right? Like
that's true.
They could go into like early Battlestar Galactica mode where the story follows all these different groups of people that are now spread across the galaxy because of this weird wormhole accident, and there's room for people to join the different groups then. But
how will it work though when we bring them all together? Because like it's Voltron, they all have to come back together. Like otherwise, we don't have Voltron.
# 6th Lion.
See, here's the thing with that. Here's the thing with that. That's what Power Rangers does basically every season is they bring in a 6th. And I will be making a lot of Power Rangers comparisons because the two are very similar. No. They're very similar.
Yes.
And so I think, what we're going to get, with developing characters, Power Rangers RPM did something where early on they had a specific episode giving the backstory of each Ranger individually, and that kind of helped flesh them out so the characters who the fandom hated then became some of their favorites because we finally saw their backstory. And I think that's what we're going to get in the first half of Season 2. And there's basically 2 ways they can take the whole main character thing. Because we are dealing with a reboot. And in the original Voltron, there was no 6th Lion. So they can either deviate from the original, add a 6th Lion, and face potential tail, wings. I don't know. And that's the issue, because the wings was something they did at one point, a different show.
Obviously,
but
Voltron
they're going to face
like a unicorn horn, right? Like,
but they're going to face they're going to face a lot of backlash from the original fans who are like, there was no 6th line, they didn't need a 6th line, why are you doing this? So that does leave the option because, as we talked about before, there were technically 3 Voltrons. This is a Lion Force Voltron that we're seeing. There's technically 3 different actual Voltrons. And so whether or not they want to go into that because they were less popular, I don't know. But that is there if they want it. And I think if they're going to add more characters, we're not going to get more parts of the Lion. We're going to get the other Voltrons.
They focus so much on Voltron, the ultimate weapon. I think if we have more than one Voltron, that's going to completely ruin it. Also, can't we just have more spaceships? Like, instead of having Koran, fly the giant castle, let's have actual spaceships that don't look ridiculous, just helping Voltron. And we can have, space smugglers.
For example, in Stargate Atlantis, you have the Atlantis, city ship, and then you also have Daedalus-class cruisers that fly around doing, the heavy lifting. So totally have that. Right. And plus, you can probably add a main character without having them be a Voltron pilot.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you can have people who are there for support, or or just another awesome woman who just stands around with Allura, and they just talk crap about everyone else. I don't care.
Yeah,
like
exactly. Like you can just have a character that stands with Allura. Like you can like introduce awesome GF for Allura. Like that's the way to go.
Exactly.
We have
Or they
kids
just-
for that.
I mean, I guess
we
Pigs
can have more. We don't have to just have one. We can have more. Like, I'm
So
not
now
like
you want a poly ship.
it doesn't have just. I mean, whatever. Like I don't. We just need more women. Like it just there just needs to be more.
Yeah, we'll see where they go with that. I don't think they care all. I mean, I think they care about staying generally true to the original. I don't think that they would. I don't think I think they could just do a sixth line.
I can see us having more people just on the ship. Like there's just slowly we begin to have more people on the ship that help with groundwork.
I'd love if like each of them came back with like 2 people, and then we just
we need another room, and then Allura's like, oh my god, guys, like we do not have space. Granted, she has to have space because she thought she was gonna get a whole species on the castle, so Allura can't say anything. But
yeah,
it's possible that they could get rid of one of the paladins and replace them because the original did do that. Do you think we would see one of the characters killed off?
Okay, so let's talk about this. So, in the original, I've been told that Shiro dies very early.
Yes, in episode 3, and then they bring him back, but it's his brother in the Japanese version. But in America, they're like, no, he didn't die, kids. It's okay.
So someone made a comment that they said that the season 1, coming from the perspective of thinking that Shiro might die, like in the original, was very tense with all the Shiro stuff.
Just like anxious, like so.
Which I think that's like an interesting element to the show that like me and Delaney didn't have watching, like expecting.
We weren't terrified that Shiro was dying.
I don't.
Well, at the time I was thinking not that he died, but his arm would turn evil, because it was Gar.
I thought that too.
Turns out,
I mean, they still could do that, but it's.
To be fair, in the Japanese version, I think all of them died except one. So.
Oh man.
Oh well, there you go.
I think that Shiro. I don't think they have any desire to kill Shiro. I don't know why they would do that.
I mean,
could they kill Keith?
I hope so. No, I'm joking. He doesn't have to die.
I would not be happy or sad about it. Like I don't. The only. I mean, that's one of the things like Delaney and I talked a lot about. I don't understand why we're not developing Keith at all.
Like he's not a person. like what are you, Keith?
I mean, it's not even like Delaney and I being skeptical of this archetype. It's just like every other character clearly had a backstory at some point. And then Keith just like, except maybe Lance, but Lance, I don't know. Lance at least does things.
Like, Lance has personality at least. Like,
I think Lance is kind of like our perspective. Like Lance is supposed to be us. I think.
A little bit. Yeah. I think we need to do something with Keith for sure. More about this. Continuing Ryan's questions. My questions to the podcast are: first, we didn't see much in the way of a romance from the first season. If the show continues, do you think it will play a bigger role? And will George be canon? Second,
yes.
do you think that Second, do you think that the Gara soldier that helped them escape at the end? Who was that helped them escape at the end of the last episode? Was he someone we'd seen before? Is he a character presenting some type of resistance faction within the Empire? Last, what will happen with Commander Sendak? We last saw getting ejected into space. The real logic says he would be lost in the vast emptiness of the cosmos, quietly dying once the power reserves on the crypt tubes give out centuries or millennia later. Wow.
Jeez, Ryan.
Jeez. Television logic and my Admiral Zhao lives sensibilities dictate that the only reason to get him off the ship so that he can resurface again. If he is alive, what role do you think he will play? Yeah, I agree. Like, why would you do that unless he's gonna live, right? So
he's coming back. Like, so
I think he's gonna be a rogue.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, I don't know why he wouldn't just be loyal to them, but
he's like he abandoned because he was weak. He failed,
Yeah.
I guess he gets all pissed at him. Or if we do,
he's gonna be Zuko. He's gonna try and murder all of them, and then he's gonna get talked into being nice, and he's gonna
for
be Zuko.
honor.
I don't think he's joining.
He'll train them in quintessence.
Oh yeah, he could train. Yeah, I could see him like being a mentor. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
On how to fight the Gara.
He could help them infiltrate. Like, how do we defeat them? Like insider info.
Yeah. Ryan Lassa says, my closing remarks are that the strength of the animation alone would have won me over. My trust in the crew's capacity for ambitious storytelling has me excited to see more of the show. Briefly going back to his questions, genuinely, so he talks about George, which was one of Delaney's names.
Is that
Keith and Lance?
I don't know. That's Keith Lance. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't.
Yep.
I like Armleg way better. But,
Thank you, Jeff.
Armleg,
Jeff,
George.
That's what Armleg is? I love
Armleg
Armleg now. I love that title.
Look,
So,
I'm great.
I think
I'm so proud of
George is
myself.
the most. Let me again go over my logic with George because I think it's really clever.
yes,
So,
please. I need to know
It is clever.
So Keith is I don't remember which one of them's fire. One of them's fire, one of them's ice. One of them's red, one of them's blue. That should clue me in, but I don't remember.
No, it's
is
actually
fire.
opposite.
No, Keith is fire though, and Lance is
Oh,
ice.
are you kidding me?
So Fire and Ice, Song of Fire
George
and Ice, George
R.
R. Martin, and also George is the name of one of the names of Suki and Sokka on the original Avatar ships, and Lance is Sokka,
Sokka.
and Keith is Suki. It's like a good pair.
So it's George.
So this is why this is George.
But
This
arm
is also
leg.
hidden Zatara.
Arm leg, also because one of them's an arm, one of them's a leg on there.
Yeah, so they're arm leg.
And
So-
you know what? They're even
I
on the
came up
same
with arm
side.
leg.
I'm looking at my Voltron action figure, and they're on the same side.
Shout out to Shone, which has actually been tagging. She's been tagging the Keith Lance post reblogs with George, so I've been appreciating that.
It's pretty great.
It's happening now. Yeah, it's happening. I've heard that they're actually called Clans. Like, no, that's a bad.
Yeah,
name.
I got
Come
an
on.
ask, and they were like, they're Clans. And I was like, arm leg and George. are
Arm
just
leg and
better.
George. We have some two pretty good options that we're presenting you with, like on a golden platter fandom. Like, come on.
Yeah,
let's-
Can
Come
we call them
on.
Tom Clancy, or is that too soon?
I mean, I think we can call them. I would say anything except Clans is my view, but I don't know.
Basically.
So that's
call
a
them-
go on Tom Clancy.
That is not a go. That was a that was a soft pass on that.
Soft
Oh.
pass.
You can also
It's
call
the
them
nicest you've ever rejected me.
Yeah, that's true. Like,
Tom
usually it's
Clancy
much
is
better.
like an adjective. Like, is it Clancy? Well, it's Clancy. You know.
Yeah, like it's so let's decide on the ship name, guys. Okay. Anyway, last question is from new patron Taylor, who says, started listening when I binge watched all of Steven Universe in January. Your podcast is what got me interested in Voltron Legendary Defender. My question is, why are the short green characters the best?
You're right. Why are they?
Let's list other
Why
short
are
green
they?
characters.
The
Peridot.
mouse. Isn't there a mouse that's green? That's
I guess
the best mouse.
Bolin
Par-
is kind of a short green
Bolin.
character, right?
Peridot.
Toph.
Peridot.
Peridot, yes. Toph,
Toph.
yes. There you go. Yeah,
I think
and,
we have enough to say short
and
green characters.
Pidge, of course, right?
Pidge,
So, yeah,
obviously.
there you go.
Yeah,
There's
What
no-
about Weevil Underwood from Yu-Gi-Oh?
No, no
he's bad.
Yu-Gi-Oh talk.
Don't
No.
like him.
Okay. Ooh,
You know, he's terrible.
hard reject from Jeff on
Hard
the
reject.
Yu-Gi-Oh
He destroyed
Don't like
Exodia.
him.
He's pretty bad.
He's only okay in the abridged version where he's Beavis and Butthead with Rex.
Oh, and all of the green Pokemon that we didn't mention, they're also
Yeah,
awesome and green and
let's
small.
put Bulbasaur in here too. Sure. Like,
Bulbasaur.
that is not how. What are you talking about? It's not how Bulbasaur sounds.
You have offended Dylan too much. You just ruined Bulbasaur.
Come
Look
on.
at you.
Okay.
That is how Bulbasaur sounds.
No. Okay.
Dylan's
Anyway, yeah,
offended.
I agree. All the short green characters. That's a good
Yeah.
observation. I would
Because
say.
green's
I,
clearly a wonderful color. And
I would
then
say
just-
Luigi, but Luigi's tall and green, so
Yeah.
yeah. So,
You're right.
No, not happening. Okay.
Darn. Oh, Link. Well, is Link
Toon
short?
Link.
Young Link. Yeah,
Young Link.
we
There
can
we
do
go.
that. I feel like Link in the new Zelda footage looked not super tall.
Yeah, no, tiny.
He looked
Which
kinda
just
tiny.
shout out, that was worth the wait. That footage is just incredible.
Yeah, looking forward to open world Zelda for sure. Yeah. Okay, so what else we got? So let's close things out here. General thoughts on what you're looking forward to in season 2. Suggestions. I don't know. Could be brief. Could be any
I'm
amount of
looking
things.
forward for more development on the Garden Empire, like their origin, expansion. I think that's one thing that carries over from both the last season of Korra and Young Justice was this aspect of techno sorcery that pervades the Empire and gives them their power. You know, these magicians.
Space magic.
Yeah, exactly. Space magic is so cool. So
Agree.
That's a great point. Yeah, comparing to. Yeah, we kind of get into that stuff at the end of Korra with the modern
vines.
feel. Yeah, with everything with spirit vines. I feel like I'll take giant magic like I don't even fish robot over spirit vines. But
plus they're both
Yeah,
purple.
same.
they're both purple.
You know, the purple rays.
Dark space magic all has to be purple.
Obviously, magic
That's
is
how it
purple.
works.
Yeah, that's just how it
Yeah,
works.
magic's purple.
I think even in Transformers, it's purple.
So if I'm doing magic, it's coming out like yellow. I know I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah, like that's not
Or-
good magic. Yeah.
Or it's good, or it's good magic. It's not evil magic.
Oh yeah, true.
Quintessence.
Like but Voldemort's magic is like red, right? So
Well,
Because
Voldemort,
he's
like,
Magic
Avada
Darth Vader.
Kedavra's green, so like that's different.
Oh, it's green? Wait, I don't remember. Anyway.
The Killing Curse is green, and that's like the evilest of all evil. So
That's also not, it's not tech magic, though, so that's why.
exactly, it's actual magic. So it's
Or
different.
is it?
Or is it? I mean, according to Thor, all magic is just science we don't understand, right?
This is true. How many references do we just have for the
Yeah,
past
exactly.
30 seconds?
Okay, so let us give us your feedback on this podcast. Maybe if you want to send in more feedback, if we get enough, we can do another one, another Voltron feedback podcast. Like, I don't know how to handle the Netflix shows, right?
Wink, wink, nudge,
So,
nudge. Send us
yeah.
Can I make you all watch Voltron Force on Netflix and then compare the two?
Definitely
It can be a while, but
definitely
No.
not. But
that one's good.
oh, is it good? Maybe.
That people wanted
I thought
season
you
2 so bad.
15 minutes ago told us do not watch it.
No, don't watch the original from 1984. You can watch the one from 2011 all you
Yeah,
want.
there's like another earlier reboot kind of.
No,
right?
sequel. Next Generation,
Okay.
basically. You don't need to see the original.
Oh, if it's
Okay.
Next Generation, I'm not watching it. No.
Oh, it's good, though.
Okay,
I
anyway.
promise.
Let us know your comments on this. Leave comments at wherever place you're watching this. You can leave us comments and we'll respond. Thank you very much for checking out our Voltron coverage. Overlyanimated.com is where you can find all of our podcasts on that. And thanks to those who sent in feedback and for those who giving us kind words on all of our Voltron podcasts. Thank you. You can if you enjoying what you're hearing with our Voltron coverage, give us a iTunes review. You can find the iTunes link at overlyanimated.com. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to our patrons. Mitch Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Andy, Jamie, Rachel, John, Ryan, Catherine, and Taylor, aka Hey Enough, Even Rich Corner, the Beach Exchange, Nathan Fillion, Buzz Like Your Mailman, Rich Rose, Jenny Bravo, Brian Cookie Cat, and any obvious ideas for Taylor for a Voltron nickname.
Arm leg.
Yeah, but like that has nothing to do with the name, you know.
Can Pidge? They can just be Pidge because green.
Oh,
so-
because they
or
like
green. Green Bean. Can her nickname just be Green Bean? I don't know.
I think him, but yeah.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I don't know.
I'm not.
I have a cousin named Evan, and she's a girl, so I have no.
Actually, I'm
like,
not sure.
reference for
Actually, it's
names.
ambiguous. So.
So
we'll
here,
clarify.
so we can. Well,
So
So-
their name will be gender neutral
Best
Green
nickname.
Bean.
Green Bean. Yeah, Pidge might not be the best name then. So Green Bean.
We could just do pitch though, because mentioned liking the
It's true. I
short,
know.
the short.
Parapidge.
Parapidge, yeah, that might
No,
be
no.
good.
What's it? Why can't the robot Rover?
Ro-
Rover, noble Rover. Sacrifice
We can
itself.
memorialize Rover.
Okay, well, let us know which of those you like the best. We'll go with that.
Green Rover. Green Rover.
Rover is
Rover.
literally the ghost from Destiny, though. Can I just say that?
No, stop. No more.
just-
We've reached our reference quota. We can't.
Quota.
Yeah.
Quote.
Thank you guys for listening and sending feedback if you want us to do another one. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.